Hey, I'm glad to be back with you on 5 Minutes with KeRusso. I've enjoyed watching everybody who's presented so far. I'm looking forward to those who are going to present in the coming weeks. I hope you're watching all the videos. I want to encourage you to watch every single one, because each presenter is going to share with you something that is key to following Jesus. Now, we're not exhaustive in this. We can't be, and we don't want to be, because if we're going to do that, like, we'd be in Matthew 5 through 7 forever. And we would do all your thinking for you, and we would do all the discovery. We'd rob you of the joy of discovery, and we don't want to do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of put a peg in Matthew 5 through 7 right now. We're going to move on to chapter 10, to that section of teaching by Jesus. So when you join us on Friday, we'll be in Matthew chapter 10. Now you can read that ahead of time if you want to. But before we leave Matthew 5 through 7, I want to give you a few trails that you can travel on your own. I'm not going to tell you too much because, again, you need to do the discovery. We might even come back to it, but right now we're going to move into 10. But here's some of the trails that you can look at. If you look at Matthew 5, there are 6 areas of life that Jesus addresses, where he looked at the people of his day and they just missed what God was really trying to get at, the life he was calling them to. And they were hearing from their preachers, the teachers of the law and the Pharisees, this is what God wants. But Jesus says, don't listen to them, listen to me. Now, always, when it comes to following Jesus, we have to make sure we're listening to Jesus. And sometimes the preachers get in the way. Not all the time, but sometimes. Sometimes the preachers don't understand. Just like in Jesus' day they didn't, and today they don't. Now you might be blessed with if you're part of a church, you might be blessed with this wonderful preacher. Well, thank God for that blessing. But not everybody has that blessing. But whether you are or not, the call is to listen to Jesus. He's the voice that will take you down the road you need to go. So consider that and figure that one out, okay? How does that work out with whatever your situation is, whether you go to church or don't go to church? Another trail that you can look at is in Matthew chapter 6. And there, Jesus will talk about honor. He'll talk about treasure. And he'll talk about not storing up treasure on earth. Well, what is the treasure that people can store up on earth? Well, we know money can be that. Jesus is very specific about that. But are there other treasures that people hoard that get in the way of them seeking the kingdom first? Treasures that can be taken away from them. Are there other kinds of treasures besides money? That's a trail to travel. I'll share with you another one. In Matthew chapter 7, Jesus talks about judgment. And he talks about a plank being in one person's eye, and they're trying to take a speck out of somebody else's eye. And that's really kind of a hilarious picture when you visualize it. But what's the plank? That's one of the questions that comes to my mind. And here's something I would ask you. Could it be religion? Because Jesus seems to be hitting hard on the way people were doing religion in his day. And maybe when you do religion wrong, you can't see your fellow person right. I wonder if that's what that plank is all about. Something to consider, and especially if you're considering doing religion. I will share with you right after that another little trail. Jesus says, ask and seek and knock. And it's an invitation for prayers. It's an invitation for taking some requests to God. Well, is that a general, an open invitation to ask God for whatever you want? Or is it possibly asking God for insight on how to be a disciple, how to be a kingdom person? Show me how to live this way. Help me to understand what this is all about. What kind of help does God offer us? What prayers is Jesus calling us to ask? Something to consider. Might be a trail you want to walk down. The last thing I will share with you about this block of teaching is emphasis on doing, not talking. And sometimes we fall into the trap of just talking. But if you want to follow Jesus, you got to do what he would do. You can't follow Jesus if you're not going to go down the same road that he was on, and you go down the same road by doing the same kind of stuff he would do. And sometimes Christianity falls in the trap of not doing much at all. And when we do something, it may not be what Jesus wanted us to do in the first place. If you want to be a follower of Jesus, you have to do. And it has to be what he would do. Okay? Those are the things I share with you today, okay? You can leave an email, or send me an email, booksbykerusso@gmail.com. Leave a comment. I'll see you next time, and be blessed.